Can't fucking be like I'm a journalist while simultaneously making a YouTube video that is devoid of like any of the fucking journalism, with the exception of like the peak of the peak where you're like, well, Alex Jones did lose $1 billion defamation suit to the Sandy Hook families. I'm a journalist. I did my journalism. Let's continue.
And talk and talk and talk.
The principles of human interaction on this planet are largely dictated by our ability to discuss things, even if you disagree.
As we've seen, Joe has had a huge variety of guests on his show. A lot of these are like famous people that you just get to watch talk in this sort of unfiltered way, like Robert Downey Jr. or Miley Cyrus. But then you also have a lot of people with big opinions and big points of view, from super mainstream and respected voices to experts on like really specific science things. But then you have a handful of a lot of controversial.
This guy hasn't used a singular clip post 2019. He talked about the Spotify bag, and he has rarely shown the post Spotify Joe. What is this? Like, literally, the fucking Joe Rogan subreddit would look at this video and go, what's happening? This does not feature any of the new Joe Rogan shit. Are you marketing old Joe? You're showing some of his highlights with, like, you know, controversial parts of it too, while avoiding some of the more controversial parts, as a matter of fact. Like, not really talking about any of the times that he's had out and about white supremacists on, like fucking Gavin McGinnis, Stefan Molnier, Sargon of Akkad, Milo Yiannopoulos. Did he have Paul Joseph Watson on? I feel like he even had that fucking freak on. So many. What is happening here? Please.
Fringe characters, people who have been censored or canceled by the mainstream media. And honestly, I think Joe takes huge pride in having this spectrum of different points of view. Now, I don't know Joe Rogan, but my guess is that half of this is his personality. He seems to be a guy who loves to discuss things with people. He seems to have an open mind. But I think half of this, again, is a response to the upkeep of his brand. I think he likes the appeal of being this anti-mainstream platform.
Yeah, fuck, he had Andy No on. Oh my God.
Where anyone who has been canceled by the woke mob can come and get their fair shake, tell their side of the story.
I mean, you don't have to agree on everything.
Yeah, here's a guy who's been canceled by the woke mob. Get the fuck out of here, man.
Or to have a common sense of the important values that unify the country, or should.
Yes. And here comes my big critique. I think there's a fallacy tucked into all of this. When Joe has these people on, it almost feels like he's giving them a chance to tell their side of the story. Like they don't have a place to tell their side, and they've been unfairly censored. But I think this is flawed thinking. Not everyone who has a point of view and who is famous has ideas worth hearing or debating in our society. I really believe that. There are people who've gotten famous simply because they've...
This is literally the most liberal ass way to criticize Joe Rogan. I am going to Sudoku. Oh my fucking Lord. Oh my God. Dog. The problem isn't he's offering a platform to these people. The problem is he's not capable of pushback. Okay? He is a fucking chameleon. That's the issue. And as a chameleon, when all of the motherfucking right-wing people that he has on are just on there chirping, and he's like, oh, yeah, that's crazy. I can't believe there's litter boxes in schools. And like he just repeats them over and over and over again. Over the course of like 4 or 5 fucking years, it becomes this reactionary shithole, okay? You can absolutely have the likes of Ben Shapiro and whoever the fuck you want on. You just have to be able to deal with it adequately, because these guys are charlatans. They are carnival barkers, myself included. Like, this is what people like that, people like Ben Shapiro, people like Matt Walsh, people like myself, we do this professionally, okay? Our job is to craft a narrative. Jesus Christ. Our job is to defend our positions. Our job is to craft a perfect narrative that makes our positions look better than other positions, okay? This is what I do professionally. This is what Ben does professionally. If you're a dumb fucking ape with a malleable, pasty brain, you're not capable of understanding that the person in front of you is doing propaganda, and you have no way to deal with it. So you just look at it and go, oh, this guy's earnest. Now, the difference between me and Ben Shapiro is that I do truly believe the things I say, and I also truly believe that things I say are good, okay? And they're right.
Made a career off of being loud and mean, and human nature loves that for some reason.
Senate voted to kill babies.
Like, here's a show with Gavin McInnes.
I started this gang called the Proud Boys. And
Proud Boys?
The Proud Boys.
What's Proud Boys about?
A far-right extremist group that promotes white supremacy ideology and proudly promotes violence against groups they don't agree with.
4 members of the Proud Boys, that far-right extremist organization, well, they've been found guilty of seditious conspiracy for their roles in the January 6th attack on the Capitol.
Hasan apologized to Joni. Suck my dick, dude. Oh, man. He had one criticism in 18 minutes.
Like, here he is fondly remembering the time
After fucking glazing him. Like, he's like, oh, my God, the Proud Boys did January 6th, and Joe Rogan had Gavin McInnes on. Oh, no, man. He's not cooking in this shit. I thought he was. Because I'm a firm believer that, like, liberalism was going to jump out at a certain point and stop Johnny from glazing up this titan of a man who has been at the forefront of anti-trans rhetoric online, forefront of fucking anti-vaxxer shit online. You know what I mean? Joe Rogan has had on every fucking prominent anti-vaxxer, anti-science kook and crank that has a website from 1994 that's still selling colloidal silver supplements on the entire planet. Okay? He hasn't stopped doing that. And now Emmy Award recipient Johnny Harris is over here being like, all that stuff. He's just, he's a curious guy. He contains multitudes. He's not, you can't put him in a box.
time his group violently attacked people who were protesting Milo Yiannopoulos at Berkeley.
He goes, I started feeling bad after a while. Because I could tell these kids had never been in a fight. And I was just mowing through them.
I mean, I don't know. Like, having a guy on your show.
Like, that's his biggest criticism, is that Joe Rogan just lets people like this talk too much because he's curious. Yeah, you know how many fucking times I've heard that from Joe Rogan dick riders? Get the fuck out of here. That is the classic former and current Joe Rogan fan take, is that like, oh, dude, you just don't get it. He has a multitude of different guests on from different backgrounds. Remember when he had Bernie Sanders on that one time? He very clearly is an open-minded progressive. He's just a curious guy. But like, yeah, maybe sometimes he's just letting people speak too much. That's not criticism, okay? That's not fucking criticism. That's ridiculous. Joe Rogan is not a small bean, okay? He's not like some neurodivergent minor. Yeah, he had Bernie on and then 10,000 white supremacists. But that one time he had Bernie on, though, he had Tulsi Gabbard on so many times, guys. Think about how progressive he is. Tulsi Gabbard, Jimmy Dore. So progressive, so progressive, so progressive. I wish you got this aggressive with Ethan on the H3 podcast, bro. Do you think that I would have this level of contention with my fucking podcast co-host? You think I haven't made the mental calculations before I started working with Ethan on whether or not he was like Joe Rogan? Are you making a comparison to Ethan Klein, modern day contemporary Ethan Klein, as Joe Rogan? He pushes you around sometimes, in my opinion. Shut the fuck up. Suck my dick, you fucking neurodivergent losers who only want fucking debate. Jesus Christ. That's what you want. You want blood sport. That's why you're in here. You're in here because you're like, you just want fucking blood sport. You want me and Ethan to fucking constantly fucking pick at each other. You don't care about anything. You don't care about the content. You just want blood. Disagree, ban. I haven't done this in a while, but I think it's time to do that. Are you fucking stupid? You think I would have a podcast with a co-host that has Joe Rogan brain rot right now? What are you, fucking insane? Hasan Bobby throwing a tantrum? Dude, yes. Get him. Fucking, we haven't done this in a while. We haven't purged in a while. I think if you're doing low-level bait, low-effort bait right now, just get fucking clapped. Your head will get cut off. Sorry. We'll pull you out in the fucking public square and execute you summarily, okay? It's been a minute. I haven't done a purge in a long time. Go ahead. Talk about how I ban disagreeers all the time. I don't give a fuck. I'll ban you. Just remember that you are a gigantic fucking loser if you think being banned in this chat for annoying me and being a nuisance is actually indicative of like your free speech being taken away from you. You can take that to the bank. You can take that to the subreddits. You can fucking cry about it and be like, Hasan, he hates criticism. He hates it. He's so thin-skinned. You can cry about it all you want. It'll make you feel better if you want. ultimately, you are a weak, insecure baby. If that is your, like, if that's what you think you were put on this earth for, you know what I mean? And there are plenty of others like you. So you'll find plenty of other fucking weirdos, complainers, crying alongside you. A lot of them are fucking losers, okay?
Joe, who espouses the view that lenient immigration and abortion among white women is leading to white genocide in the West, doesn't feel like fruitful, robust dialogue that will open all of our minds and push the boundaries of our discourse. It feels like outraging people with old tribal ideas to get attention. And this is my critique, is like, it feels like sometimes Joe will have these people on because they say and do reprehensible things, not in spite of it.
I'm taking the low road. I'm punching them in the face.
So that's what you're doing with this outfit?
Yes.
They think they can ruin his work because he jerked off in front of some people.
You know, I'm not going to bow down before them and say you were right, and they want me to. But they weren't right. I'm right. I wrote it.
Again, his brand is the anti-establishment place where you won't get censored by the woke police. But listen, Joe is absolutely right. Being able to say things, no matter how much I disagree with them, is a vital right. It is an unnatural and precarious thing. People should be able to speak, and we must protect that. I believe that. And Joe should absolutely legally be allowed to give his giant megaphone to whoever he wants. But that doesn't mean I'm not going to critique it. Because listen, having this open-minded, likable guy who's very good at entertaining us give his...
Yeah, dude, he's right. Dude, it's just... People are just mad at Joe Rogan for giving a megaphone, dude. Just express yourself. This is literally liberalism's major issue. Like, this unironically is how... This is the reason why many leftists say cut a liberal and a fascist bleeds, because it's the idea of it's so simple to infiltrate liberal circles with civility and aesthetics while simultaneously promoting really, really fucking violent ideologies. Okay, it's like, oh, I'm just gonna critique it. Well, critique it. You haven't critiqued it. If Joe Rogan is a chameleon who changes shapes and ideologies with every single fucking person that he has on, well, then look to his fucking ideology of his guests. Whenever he has a political guest on, it's almost always right-wing to far right, including literal out-and-about Nazis, man. Come on. This is so stupid. It's like, oh, man, he's just like a little... He's just a curious guy. He's a little guy. He doesn't know what he's doing. Like, this is a more liberal version of like Joe Rogan dick riding. It's crazy how this is the same guy who made the "This is how the U.S. stole Iraq" video. I mean, it's not that crazy. I think he's just like very much an online guy. He's got nearly 5 million subs. This is his career. He's just, you know, he's comfortably shaping his like YouTube essayist commentary space. No, he's not an online guy. He'd only ever watched clips of Joe Rogan before this video. No, I'm saying he's an online content creator who recognizes that he's an online content creator. And if you want to be a online content creator, especially on YouTube, who's doing commentary and these like convoluted essays, then you got to be a centrist, okay? This is centrism juice, that dumb bitch juice that people drink. He's just farming, dude. Yeah, 100%. Farm is open. Listen, liberal, I have the right to bear ivermectin. Don't you think a gentle approach to criticism is more likely to change people's minds sometimes? Man, what the fuck are we talking about? We're talking about Joe Rogan in 2023. We're not talking about Joe Rogan in 2017. We're not talking about Joe Rogan in 2018. We're talking about Joe Rogan in 2023. What the fuck's going on? What do you mean gentle criticism? Half of his fucking community left him behind because they're like, this guy sucks. I'm one of the people that used to be a fucking major fan. While this guy was, doing map porn on fucking Vox, I was a Joe Rogan fan. You know what I mean? Actually, fuck that. While he was a fucking Mormon at BYU, I was a Joe Rogan fan. What the fuck are we talking about here? This dude back then thought he was going to his own very own planet when he died at Brigham Young University, and I was a fucking Joe Rogan fan back then. So I'm sorry. Maybe I know a little bit more.
Megaphone to other dudes who promote violence, who tear down science, who invent fake facts and talk about them like they're real. It doesn't promote curiosity. It normalizes lying. It validates factlessness, which is something that, if you haven't heard, we already have a problem with. We're already battling that.
Nuclear bombs actually don't exist. that they never actually figured it out, but they realized that the threat of nuclear bombs.
I used to pull this up every time I talked about Joe Rogan because there were so many unimaginable Joe Rogan dick riders who would come in here and be like, dude, you're just a fucking idiot. You don't understand Joe. Joe's not like that, blah, blah, blah. And I would pull this up. We don't get that as much anymore. Where was this at? This is at the Improv, man. There's an entire, you can tell this photo is ancient because you're wearing a Henley. Yeah, I know. The photo is ancient because I'm wearing a Henley and Joe's wearing this one guy that he used to promote all the fucking time. The person who made these shirts. He used to talk about it on a show all the time. Is it still your top 10 coolest moments? Fuck no.
Is good enough.
But Eddie, you can see the bombs.
The atom bombs?
But how do you know by seeing them that they're real?
And this feeling really hit me when I was listening to the episode with Alex Jones. Alex Jones, a man who has created an empire off of promoting lies and warped information so that he can sell health.
Bro, these aren't even his worst offenses, man. Like Alex Jones is really fucked up, especially after the defamation suit. He had him on and he revitalized his career. But like his worst offenses are more insidious. Like his worst moments are trapped inside of a random clip where he's talking to someone and immediately goes on a tangent about trans people. Like those are his worst moments. His worst moments are when he's like he's so fucking high off the sauce of reactionary politics that he's just gone overboard and he's talking about like litter boxes in schools and shit. This essayist is trying to reduce all of Joe's faults to his guests. Exactly. That's not the whole problem. The problem with his guests is, you know, he's booking these guys with an ideological purpose. But the biggest issue is stuff that Joe Rogan defends vociferously, okay? Stuff that Joe Rogan defends vociferously.
Oh, supplements.
Our fertility is being targeted, and it's dropping across the Western world. Ladies and gentlemen, Anthroplex is the newest addition at InfoWarsLife.com.
A man who was recently ordered to pay $1.5 billion in damages to the families of the Sandy Hook shooting victims for spreading lies about the shooting being a hoax. And yet here he is on the Joe Rogan Experience, getting a chance to tell his side of the story.
When I started getting accused 4 years ago, a couple years into it, when I said, no, I think it happened, then people that I had interviewed and things started saying, he's involved, he's one of them.
Because you are now saying that it happened, they thought that you had been compromised.
Yes, and then I was realizing,
this is how it works.
A certain percentage of people are schizophrenic.
Exactly.
And then they just think everything's a conspiracy.
Now listen, I'm going to tell you the truth right now and admit something, which is that when I watched this, I actually had a moment where I was like, oh my God, like here's Alex Jones in this like very calm environment. He's not like yelling like he does on InfoWars.
My heart's big. It's got hot blood going through it fast. I like to eat. I like to have children.
And I literally thought like, wait, is Alex Jones like, was he wrongfully accused or was this overly exaggerated? Was this like a witch hunt to censor this guy because he's like kind of has far right views? Because this felt like a proper moment for Jones to tell his side of the story.
What? I began to realize, because I was on the receiving end of people pulling up in white vans with guns at my office saying, I know you put a microchip in my head and I'm going to kill you. So I came out and I said, listen, I never sent anybody to the houses, but I...
Dude, no fucking way. Dude. Yeah, no, this got to be because he's a Mormon, right? Like, this is some former Mormon shit. Like, what's the study that shows that, like, former Mormons are way more susceptible to multi-level marketing schemes? Because, like, a part of their brains have been rewired in a dramatic capacity that, like, is really hard to develop. There ain't no fucking way. No, what is... I'm pausing too early. I'm pausing too early. No shot. He's going to explain his take. There's no shot.
Context. People have a right to question, but I'm sorry for the families, and I'm sorry for your hurt, and I get it, and I've experienced crazy people now, big time, just like you have. Please stop saying that I'm saying it didn't happen.
And he nearly persuaded me. But wait, no. Then I remembered that my full-time job is to do journalism.
No one died in 2012 in Sandy Hook.
And luckily, I sit around and fact-check things all day. And I researched it, and I reminded myself that there's actually not a ton of nuance here. The facts. Alex Jones repeatedly claimed that the Sandy Hook shooting...
Okay, he didn't go that far. Okay, holy shit. Yeah, journalism. Thank you for doing a lot of journalism on this one, by the way. That was great. So much journalism has happened here. He's hearing Joe have polite conversations and is immediately convinced. Yeah, brother, that's the point, okay? I think that basically gives the game away for why he is behaving this way. Because Joe Rogan has a lot of the aesthetics of free speech and civility that you need to have to be able to exist in polite society. Okay? I don't think that Alex Jones is some like nefarious, hyper far right, like ideologically driven fascist that is too cowardly to say these things on his own and like tricks people into brainwashing them by having right-wing people on. Okay? I don't think that that's the case. I think that Joe Rogan is a dumbass. Okay? He is objectively not very smart. He knows it. He's very talented. He's very successful as a media guy, but he's not very smart when it comes to, I guess, being well-read or exercising. Oh, did I say Alex Jones? I was talking about Joe Rogan when I was talking about civility, liberalism, the aesthetics of civility, and like, having debates for the sake of having a debate. Not Alex Jones. Alex Jones is an awesome entertainer. I love him. He's done nothing wrong. Okay. Sandy Hook was a conspiracy. So anyway, but Joe Rogan, back to Joe Rogan, is very good. Don't say that. Yeah, dude, no one is going to fucking sue me for that. What are you, crazy? Obviously, I'm joking. Jesus Christ. Joe Rogan has the capacity to fool a lot of liberals, or rather make a lot of liberals feel like he's just like honest to God, kind of a dumb himbo. Everybody likes him. He's just like, he knows not what he says, whatever. And like maybe sometimes he, goes a little overboard with some of his guests, like every now and then, but he has a multitude of different ideologies that is well represented on his show, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, that's not the case. Like, he definitely does have an ideological perspective. His show is ideologically driven. It is right-wing for the most part. It's slanted. He used to be definitely a little bit more interesting. But the reality is that Joe Rogan absolutely is by his own admission, a Ron DeSantis supporter. You know what I mean? Yeah, he went from liberal with like interesting opinions, some very progressive positions, to a center-right guy to far-right, and he's somewhere in between like the center-right, far-right, okay? That's where Joe Rogan is. The idea that like he knows not what he's doing, or the biggest problem is that like he can sometimes let people speak too much, is really silly. He is susceptible to propaganda just like anyone else is, just like I am, just like you are. He has eaten the propaganda from the right, hook, line, and sinker, and basically created this this echo chamber of center right to far right figures that are all yes men, whose careers heavily rely on being able to appear on the Joe Rogan Experience. And Johnny Harris, being the liberal that he is, has kind of gotten duped, I guess. If I'm going to look at this and assume that Johnny Harris is sincere with the things that he's saying, and he's not cynically making this centrist-ass video specifically so he can go on the Joe Rogan Experience, then I'm afraid he's naive and he was duped, okay? If this video is sincere, then Johnny Harris is the most naive motherfucker I've ever met in my entire life, and he is super-duper duped by Joe Rogan. But I don't believe that, because I think Johnny Harris is much smarter than that. His guests are just people who personally he agrees with. He just can't outright say it. Yeah, pretty much. That's charitable to offer that possibility. I mean, I think he's glazing, but maybe he's just naive and he like saw a guy who's just trying to simply have ideas or conversations, and he thought maybe he was clip chimped a lot, I guess. And now he's like, well, Joe Rogan is not all that bad. I genuinely don't know though. I'm shocked. Johnny Harris cares more about telling a story than doing right sometimes. Examples of the coup video and the China video. Dude even admits to it. He will just do shit to fit a story.
Was a staged event orchestrated by the globalists, the government, to promote gun control.
That's why the globalists use children's deaths to go after our guns, because they know it gets to us.
He suggested that the grieving parents were crisis actors and that no children had actually died.
Early on, I said, well, they had to have killed somebody. I mean, this doesn't make sense. Then parents come out and start laughing and then turn to the camera and cry.
These grieving families who had experienced unimaginable horror had to relocate because of the harassment they received, in part due to Jones' peddling of this lie so that it could sell health supplements. These are facts that are available to all of us, okay? And yet, I don't know about you, but if I weren't a full-time journalist who was paid to go down rabbit holes and check facts.
Damn, dude, he's he's such a good full-time journalist. Like, come on, bro. I'm sorry. You can't be fucking glazing up big homie over here for 24 minutes and then be like, I'm a fact-checking full-time journalist. Like, no, man. Let's be real, okay? You're a YouTuber. You're doing YouTuber shit right now. There is nothing more YouTuber shit than, like, literally omitting key details of Joe Rogan's fascinating media career and his ideological shapings that turned into ideological trappings, as a matter of fact, as his career progressed. Can't fucking be like I'm a journalist while simultaneously making a YouTube video that is devoid of like any of the fucking journalism, with the exception of like the peak of the peak, where you're like, well, Alex Jones did lose $1 billion defamation suit to the Sandy Hook families. I'm a journalist. I did my journalism. Are you fucking joking? That's the one time you did your journalism? You don't have to be a fucking journalist to know that Alex Jones is a charlatan who absolutely defamed and lied about the Sandy Hook situation and the fucking parents. Why are you making it seem like you want a fucking Pulitzer for pulling that shit up? What the fuck? Guys, I had a revelation. Alex Jones lost a defamation suit. I'm a journalist. That's why I know this. You are not. You dumb simpleton. You are not a journalist, so you don't know. You dumb simpletons at home. You don't know this. I'm a journalist, though. I'll tell you. You know, I pulled it up. I pulled that shit up as a journalist and figured out that Alex Jones was lying about what he said on the Joe Rogan Experience. But he almost got me there. He almost got me. But thank God there was a massively popular defamation suit that was historic, record-breaking awards were given as a consequence of Alex Jones's defamation and lies about Sandy Hook. Thank God for being thank God for Johnny being a journalist, dude. He pulled that shit up. Hey, what the fuck? I read the news and watch you. I'm a journalist just like Johnny is. Yeah, just like I am. Everyone in the chat and myself, we're all journalists here because we knew that Alex Jones engaged in defamation. Bunch of journalists, all of us, 27,000 journalists in here. Each individual journalist is about to see the top of the hour ad break, unless you're subscribed, okay? Subscribe for more journalism. I'm so disappointed, dude. I fucking make memes about Johnny Harris, but like ultimately, I do like his content. I watch it all the time. This is the single most disappointing. This is more disappointing than his like I expect him. Okay, here's the 3-minute ad break. I don't even care. I gave you a bad segue. Shut the fuck up. I expect him to obviously have pro-American State Department propaganda whenever he talks about American foreign policy, the history of American foreign policy, history of coups, blah, blah, blah. Okay? I expect that. I expect that from everyone. That's not going to immediately make me write someone off, okay? Because I know that not everyone is equipped with the immortal science of Marxist-Leninism or dialectical materialism when they're operating, or historical materialism when they're operating on like historical analysis, okay? I know that. But when I see something like this, it goes beyond the pale. He has officially moved beyond the I'm just a liberal who does have some good videos and makes really good map porn to like, I am very deliberately either demonstrating how naive I am, like laughably naive, okay? Or I am absolutely grifting here to fucking get on the Joe Rogan Experience. For real, he's trying to lead Joe Rogan fans away from his platform by slowly introducing his wrongs into a final thesis. Yeah, there's nothing more YouTuber than growing your channel to a visible size and starting to glaze Joe Rogan with the hopes to get invited on. Exactly. I gave my friend a beer. I am now a bartender. Talking about Joe as a journalist, saying that he should have made research before having someone on like Alex. My friend, are you crazy? Joe Rogan has known Alex Jones for longer than he's known most people, okay? He's been a fan of Alex Jones, just like I have been a fan of Alex Jones. Joe Rogan has known about Alex Jones since the fucking public access days, where Alex Jones was a relatively well-known but still hyper-niche conspiracy theorist that was also prominently featured on A Scanner Darkly, for example, like numerous movies. Because Alex Jones, for all of his faults, is a brilliant entertainer. Alex Jones is a charlatan. Alex Jones is a dangerous man. But he is 100% an incredible entertainer, okay? He is. I've said this many times over. Yeah, he was in a lot of Richard Linklater movies. I can see Alex Jones for the entertainment factor, okay? As a matter of fact, I was in a lot. Alex Jones was heavily featured on my stream in the early days. He was literally a alert back when I had alerts pop up. You would hear Alex Jones's voice throughout the entire fucking broadcast. He is a very entertaining guy. He's crazy, okay? Problem is, we as a society are not ready to be entertained by him. We unfortunately are too fucking brain broken and believe the psychotic shit that he's saying. Now, having said that, you don't need to be a fucking journalist to know that Alex Jones is absolutely engaged in dangerous conspiracy theories. Oh my God, I'm losing my mind.
I'm not sure I would have gone and done this. I'm not sure I would have gone and reviewed all of the facts and wrestled with them in my mind, especially not after listening to 2.5 hours of Alex Jones talking. I think the idea of trusting your viewer to go fact check everything you say is irresponsible and naive. I spend every day of my life making sure that the things I tell you are factually accurate. If I get something wrong, it's a cardinal sin. In a world of algorithms and misinformation and Russian bots, it becomes nearly impossible to fact check everything you see, which is why we rely on trusted voices to help us navigate the information out there, to help us navigate what is real and what is not. So instead, Alex Jones, a man who makes money off lies, gets to tell his side of the story. And what does he do with his time? Surprise, he lies.
The amount of Sandy Hook coverage against me has been so insane and so huge because it's supposed to be the first domino that once I'm taken down, then all the dominoes fall.
He tells a story about how this was all one big conspiracy to take.
Yeah, where's the fucking Mr. Journalism fact check on like the metric ton of like psychotic conspiracy ramblings revolving around COVID from Joe Rogan? Okay, what's going on there? Journalist guy, please do some journalism on the fucking ivermectin shit. Where is that? Where's the metric ton of journalism from, I don't know, where is the modicum of journalism for all of the times that Joe Rogan has talked about like fucking trans people and anti-trans screeds? Please explain to me where the journalism is. Journalism, man, what is happening? All of the people that are openly white supremacists that Joe Rogan has offered a platform to. Like, the only issue you have with Joe Rogan is that he like let Alex Jones on, but you were a little baby and you didn't do the fact check. But, you know, Johnny Harris is here because he's the fucking big-brained journalist. He's the big-brained, alpha-brained journalist. That's why he did the fact-checking. You don't need to be a fucking journalist to know Alex Jones is a charlatan. Is it me or is Hasan just unnecessarily hating here? This is absolutely the worst fucking video I've ever seen from Johnny Harris. It is a issue that I know very well. It is an issue that I have talked about for years and years and years and years. I have been a fan of Joe Rogan. I've been a critic of Joe Rogan. The fact that like he would put this video out there without mentioning any of those things comes across like a lie by omission. You know what I mean? I do not want Johnny Harris to have the same fucking feelings that I do about Joe Rogan. I do not expect that. But I, at least, would expect him to do his fucking due diligence because I do think Johnny Harris was a journalist at a certain point. Johnny Harris is at least a relatively smart person. It's just like shocking to me that he would write this, and it makes me feel like he only wrote this either A, because he is the most naive person and he just like watched too much Joe Rogan until he gaslit himself into believing that Joe Rogan is this like honest actor who is just who contains multitudes, or because he's just grifting his way into more YouTube mainstream prominence, and you can't do that without clearing the Joe Rogan hurdle. You gotta pay the big dogs their respect, and Joe Rogan is still a big dog in the field. Okay, he wants to go on the show maybe. He even mentioned Milo Yiannopoulos by name, but didn't say he was a guest on JRE. Yeah, like what the fuck is going on?
Take him down. Now, of course, there is more nuance to this conversation as usual. Rogan does push back a few times.
I don't think
Steven Crowder talked about you on his channel. I edited and put it on YouTube for you. This is a poop sock. I'm not watching this. This is literally a fucking poop sock from 2021. Okay? You just changed this poop sock. You just changed the title of the poop sock to Steven Crowder response to Hasan Piker. It's from 14th of April, 2021. Okay? I'm going to preemptively give you a 1 hour ban. Take 1 hour off.
I think the majority of them are angry because the narrative has been that you're sending people to these Sandy Hook families' homes.
But I guess I'm wondering why. Why is this the person that you want on your show, Joe? You're a curious, open-minded guy, and you've decided that this guy's voice is who deserves your megaphone to 11 million people. And this doesn't even get to the other hours that Jones has on Rogan's show, where he outlines his theories on genetics and race.
Native Americans, you can mind control really fast.
Why is that?
Well, it's like Vietnam. So Asians are about the most fearless killers there are.
You're like, no, Native Americans, they're the best out there. They can do Native Americans are the easiest to do mind reading to because, you know, they're like one unit. And the Asians, it's just like so crazy.
Yeah, bro. Listen, brother, Joe's going to watch the video and go, Alex Jones, I've known him for 20 years. Fuck you. Who are you? You seem like a liberal and gay, probably. I'm not having you on the show. Sorry, Johnny.
Crazy. Oh, and this clip has less nuance. Like, if you listen to the whole thing, you're actually just watching Alex Jones talking
You're gonna be like, what the fuck is this gay libtard saying about me? Alex Jones, I've known him for 20 years. He's a good man. Fuck you.
nonstop about totally bullshit theories on race and genetics. And Joe is just sitting there nodding his head.
Native Americans are gung-ho and they're tough and they're ready to fight. And I'm part Native American, only like 6% Comanche, and Texas. And just that little bit makes me wild.
No, they're not breaking any laws. This is their right. But what the f***? This isn't exploring both sides.
You could literally cut this entire conversation about Joe Rogan. Not just Alex Jones, but about the things that Joe Rogan truly firmly believes and will advocate for. What the fuck? You could cut this video about every single right-wing guest that Joe Rogan has had on. It shouldn't take for the most famous conspiracy theorist, who is literally a defamation trial loser, for you to go, wow, I can't believe Joe Rogan is like not doing both sides here. It's really fucked up, kind of damaging. Also, you can't unpack criticisms that you have for Joe Rogan by hiding them under criticisms of Alex Jones. That's what he's doing, by the way. That's what this cowardly man is doing. You can say all of this about Joe Rogan. He doesn't want to say it about Joe Rogan. He doesn't want to say about Matt Walsh either, which is another person that Joe Rogan had on. Okay? Yeah, he ain't trying to go on Alex Jones' show, so he's like, Joe Rogan is great. I love him. He's curious. He's intellectually honest. He just wants to have a good conversation. But this Alex Jones guy, guys, I'm a journalist. I found out that Alex Jones lost a defamation suit because of his harassment campaign against the families of Sandy Hook victims. Did you guys know that? Thank God that I'm a big journalist who uncovered this deep truth that Joe Rogan somehow did not have access to. Joe Rogan, quite irresponsible, sir. Please think clearly next time you make such a decision. I mean, wow.
This isn't nuanced conversation. This is pretend information framed as rigorous discussion, echoing ideas and thought processes that have been used for centuries to divide and demean people. This isn't balanced conversation. It's faulty logic and factlessness disguised as discourse. I have no respect for it. And listen, Joe Rogan wouldn't disagree with me fully on this. He knows that putting people on his show helps them, helps their ideas.
When you were paused at 11, I thought you were being a little unfair. Now I'm pissed too. There is no way you come out of this video, if you know what I know about Joe Rogan, if you know what I know about this space, even a little bit of this, okay? If you've watched actual Joe Rogan podcasts, okay, whether on this stream or whether on your own, and you watch this video, there is 0% chance you're going to come out of this going, yeah, that's right. This Johnny Harris guy, he's doing a really good job. There's no fucking way. This is like a reverse Sunny V2 video or a Sunny V2 video on Joe Rogan.
Ideas.
And by the way, I'm not a Trump supporter in any way, shape, or form. I've had the opportunity to have him on my show more than once. I've said no every time. I don't want to help him.
This isn't the public square. This isn't a personal conversation between friends sharing ideas. This is a powerful man who commands the attention of millions of people. He has decisions on who he gives his megaphone to and who he does not, and what facts he decides to challenge and which he does not. Okay, wait, but I'm not done. There's nuance to my critique, which is that sometimes letting people with ideas that I find reprehensible talk is actually really good. Most of Joe Rogan's guests are not Alex Jones. They're honestly...
Wait, these are the reprehensible people that he had on? Edward fucking Snowden?
Is actually really good. Most of Joe Rogan's guests... are not Alex Jones. They're honestly interesting, stimulating conversations with a lot of really interesting people.
I'm kidding.
And even the ones I disagree with, there is so much value in letting them talk. Like I listened to this 2-hour conversation with Candace Owens, a political pundit who I deeply disagree with. I mean, she's called Trump the savior of Western civilization. She's called Black Lives Matter a bunch of whiny toddlers pretending to be oppressed for attention. I deeply disagree with this.
These are, again, like purely aesthetic disagreements. Candace Owens is a white supremacist. Candace Owens cut a fucking documentary. You're a journalist, Johnny. Your disagreements on Candace Owens shouldn't just be because she said BLM is a bunch of toddlers. She literally cut a documentary creating conspiracy theories surrounding George Floyd's execution, okay? She lied, made a documentary on the motherfucking Daily Wire dime, highlighting just so many conspiracy theories about George Floyd. She said Hitler wanted to make Germany great. She said that. Okay? What is going on?
This woman. After listening to the show with Candace Owens, I still deeply disagree with Candace Owens. In fact, I found more reasons to reject her approach to politics and facts.
Yeah, I really needed to hear Candace Owens on the Joe Rogan Experience for like an unfiltered 2-hour conversation for me to be like, you know, I'm glad I came out of that disagreeing with her even further. What are you saying? Candace Owens and Alex Jones are no different than one another. The only difference is Candace Owens hasn't lost a $1 billion defamation suit. Is that all you need, Mr. Journalist Man? What are you saying? What is happening? No, what is actually happening? Like, so it's fine when Joe Rogan has Alex... It's not fine when Joe Rogan has Alex Jones on. But like Candace Owens, you know, this just... simple disagreement I have with her. You just said it earlier. There is no difference between Candace Owens and Alex Jones, okay? The only difference is Candace Owens' conspiracy theories, unfortunately, are more acceptable than Alex Jones' conspiracy theories that take it way too fucking far. What is the nuance there? And by the way, I'm not even saying don't have Candace Owens on. Don't talk to Candace Owens. But if you're going to fucking talk to Candace Owens, you better come with all of the facts, just like you said about the Alex Jones thing.
So let's say we all agree that global warming is real. I don't believe it's real. Okay, so I can't sit here.
But here's the question. But why have a belief?
What do you mean?
Why have a belief as to whether or not global warming is real or not real?
Because I just find that when things
you don't understand the science.
You are correct.
But crucially, suddenly what I couldn't do was hate her like was so easy before. It's really hard to hate someone when you listen to them speak.
I received some voicemail messages from about 4 kids, and the language was pretty strong.
Nah, I'm done. Liberalism is over. Honestly, fucking J.D. Pond, permanent first world genocide. I think that China is overtaking, and fuck it, I'm gonna die in the process, but it's okay. You know what I mean? I'm tapped out. This is peak liberalism, okay? It's over. It's done. There is no value to the fucking discourse. There is no value to the ideas that are represented. There's no critical thinking. It's just, is the interlocutor maintaining a fucking semblance of civility and humanity? These people will let you do anything. They will be on board with anything. I've never, oh my God, I'm losing it. It's quite literally, let me tell you something. This is straight up the thing that a lot of people say about Donald Trump. If Donald Trump was like more palatable, okay, more aesthetically pleasing, he would be the most popular president of all time, okay? Like if Donald Trump was able to do Donald Trump shit, but wasn't like a charlatan who just kept saying Mexicans are rapists, everyone would be like, what's the problem? I don't get it. He's defending the country's borders from foreign invasions. Hello? It's done. It's done. It's so done. It's so over. We are so fucking doomed, dude. This is what liberalism has brought us, okay? It's literally like, it's fine. As long as you're doing it, you can do fascism as long as you're doing it with a fucking smile, and I will see your humanity, and I will say to myself, look at how open-minded I am, that I'm allowing you to say things I disagree with. Not Alex Jones, though. Not Alex Jones, because he took it too far. He lost a defamation suit. I'm a journalist. I know that he lost a defamation suit against the Sandy Hook parents. I only know that because I'm a journalist. I'm not so much of a journalist that I like investigated the background of Candace Owens to figure out if she had done similar things to Alex Jones. Because like her conspiracy theories that they revolve around Black Lives Matter, they revolve around George Floyd. So, you know, that's like, it's fine. That's fine. It's okay. I'm a journalist. Fuck.
Strong. It was like, we're going to tar and feather your family. We're going to put a bullet in the back of your head like we did to Martin Luther King. Like, you know, N-word, N-word, N-word.
Like, none of what she said there is real, for the record. I don't even believe that what they're saying there is real. What she's saying
conveniently have to see them as a real human with feelings and thoughts and ideas, and it becomes a lot harder to just put them into a bucket as someone I should hate. Which, of course, as we all know, is a huge thing that we've lost in our world of echo chambers, where we only hear from people that we agree with. And when we do hear from people we disagree with, it's often framed in an outrageous clickbaity article linked on Twitter entitled, "Watch this."
You worked for Vox.com! That's where you got your licks in! You won an Emmy! You are still that person! Fuck! Oh, I can't. I haven't been this triggered watching a fucking YouTube video in so long. Oh my God. I want to go back to a time when I never watched this video. I am permanently damaged from this video. I am scarred from this video. Oh my God.
The senator that you agree with destroy the person you disagree with and reinforce your views that they are a monster and that you are justified in hating them.
Dog, what the fuck are you saying? One, you contribute to this cycle all the fucking time. Two, Joe Rogan contributes to this. Hello? What are we doing here? Go on TikTok, search Joe Rogan and Adam Conover to see the thousands of TikToks that have been cultivated off of Joe Rogan destroys trans defender, freak, soft, petty liberal. What the fuck? This is making me lose my fucking mind. This is such like shitty media commentary. Oh my God, everyone in the media just like wants to clip chimp you. Yeah, it's true, dumbass. I know. I everyone does it to me all the fucking time. I know. But beyond that, stop being so fucking intellectually lazy and look into some of the fucking guests that Joe Rogan has had and do some journalism to figure out what the real damaging aspect of Joe Rogan having them on in an uninterrupted capacity to show their humanity is why that's bad, why that has a damage, why that does damage to the quote-unquote discourse. What the fuck? How are you going to make a final note that, like, this caused you to sympathize with Candace fucking Owens beyond the clickbaity headlines and shit? Like, all you're doing is saying, I, Johnny Harris, okay, ex-Mormon, BYU guy, did an internship at NATO. I, Johnny Harris, in spite of all of my traditional, all of my education, all the critical thinking that I have, like, portrayed to you, that I've signaled to you that I'm a smart guy and a well-read liberal, was fucking duped by the Joe Rogan experience like I'm a fucking divorced 45-year-old cop who does BJJ because Joe Rogan talked about it. You literally cut a 35-minute video talking about how hard you got owned and duped like a rube, a mark, a sucker by a guy who calls himself a fucking ape, a dedicated COVID conspiracist who has had every conspiracy theorist on COVID on his fucking show. Every single one.
This is how I knew Candace Owens before I listened to her speak for 2 hours. But now I see her as a person, a human who holds views that I see as objectively bad for people and our society. But I can't dehumanize her.
Somebody started doing this prank call and shit on you, and was this...
It was all in one night.
It was all in one night?
Yeah, it was like 4 voicemails.
Was this tied to like a boyfriend?
No,
or
so
a girl
I was
jealous?
at a boyfriend's house when I got the calls, and I just like put it to silent because it was like blocked number. So I was like, I didn't think anything of it. And then like when I listened to it, like it was like some pretty horrific stuff. Like I definitely cried. You know, I was 17 years old.
And this gets me to my last takeaway, and then we'll finish up this video, which is that Joe Rogan models curiosity and openness. And this is valuable. It is rare and unique to watch a tough guy fighter, TV host, dirty comedian with a microphone admit that he's wrong.
Here's the thing. These are not like planned statements. Let's be real clear. I don't have an off-air and on-air voice. I don't.
No.
I have me.
This is
it.
You typically don't see stuff like this.
Do I get things wrong? Absolutely, I get things wrong, but I try to correct them.
And when it comes to powerful...
That video that he just posted is literally from when he got COVID, which was noticeably devoid from the entire video altogether. That is the famous Joe Rogan COVID video, the kitchen sink video, which was noticeably absent from Johnny Harris's criticism when he talked about how open-minded Joe Rogan is. I'm dying. 2020 and 2021 don't exist. Nobody wants to think about it, except Joe Rogan still holds on to the COVID conspiracy shit like a psychopath. Most people don't want to think about COVID. Joe Rogan still does. Still brings it up. This is actually the worst Johnny Harris video I've ever watched in my entire life. Don't you think these reactions like yours is why a lot of young people lean right now? Yes, my reaction to the Joe Rogan Experience essay YouTube that is devoid of any kind of facts is the reason why young people are turning right. Because young people are fucking stupid, okay? They see another guy yell like this on camera and they go, well, I have no critical thinking skills, okay? Let me tell you something. I'm a young guy. No critical thinking skills whatsoever. I just respond to stimuli. Listen, wine ape, all you're doing in that situation is admitting that there's nothing in here. It's just fucking hollow. That you see a guy that you kind of like getting yelled at by a guy you don't like, and you go, let me not investigate any of this further. Let me not see if there's anything truthful happening here. Let me not read into these criticisms whatsoever. I like this guy a little bit. I don't like this guy. I'm reacting to shapes and colors because I'm a fucking wine ape. At the end of the day, I'm a fucking hollow-headed ape. Okay? That's what you're doing. And young people must be like me as well. Joe Rogan is the exact opposite of a model of curiosity and openness. Thank you. Exactly. He kept going down a path towards closed-mindedness. The old Joe Rogan was actually curious. And he was actually open-minded. Okay? You yelled at a YouTuber, and now I'm mad at minorities. Now I hate minorities. You yelled about some YouTuber. He's basically saying people are pussies now and turn right because you're yelling. I know. I've heard this so many times. Listen, folks, be more courageous with your ideology. You don't have to constantly be like, I became a racist because people were yelling online. I became a racist because people were too soy. Just say you're a fucking racist with your chest, okay? You don't have to do this. You pushed me into the right bullshit. This isn't fucking 2015 anymore, okay? I hate this so much. It's like, you're pushing me into the right. It's like, do you see what's going on that other side? Really? Like, you have no backbone. You have no moral compass whatsoever. Like, why are you admitting that willingly? Why do you come in here and admit that willingly, where you're like, I am a fucking hollowed out, skulled dumbass who has no moral compass, no backbone, no critical thinking skills whatsoever, and I'm just responding to stimuli left and right. And now your anger, your emotion at how silly this fucking YouTube video is from a guy who you have like respect for, okay? Covering a subject matter that you know a lot about, that he's doing in such a bad job, that he's doing in such a silly way that it makes you feel like maybe there's something else going on behind the scenes. That has made me really fall into the arms of right-wingers, okay? I was always left-leaning guy here because of the Shapiro name drop and just loved how shamelessly you express yourself as opposed to other left-leaning content creators. He got nothing. He just said that and dipped out. Wait, do you feel the same way about Tim Dillon? To be fair, every other media outlet had COVID disinformation. At least Tim Dillon's fucking funny. You know what I mean? Joe Rogan has lost the plot. He's not even funny. Tim Dillon has his fucking moments.
Wrong. Absolutely. I get things wrong, but I try to correct them.
And when it comes to powerful men in this world, most of the loudest voices are the ones promoting a confident, macho, nightmare version of masculinity.
Nobody would be tougher on ISIS than Donald Trump.
And while I don't vibe with all of the ways that Joe expresses his manhood, I think he is a force for good in this department, in showing an eagerness to ask questions and an ability to change his mind. And yet, as I mentioned earlier, my critique is that I think he overuses this persona, this confident, curious persona of, I don't know anything, I'm not an expert.
Like if you say you disagree with me, I probably disagree with me too. Yeah. When I say something stupid, I'm not thinking about what I'm gonna say before I say it. I'm just saying it.
To tacitly validate deceiving information and to give voice to opportunistic characters. And so in the end, I'm not really sure if this modeling of an open mind outweighs the proliferation of seductively fake facts and ideas, especially in a time where truth and facts are already scarce and under siege. And
bro, Joe Rogan is the biggest peddler of misinformation. What the fuck are you talking about? What are we doing here? What is happening? Like, you did a fucking 31-minute blowjob on fucking Joseph Robinette Rogan. And, like, your final message is, like, Joe Rogan is a beacon of prosperity at a time when, like, fucking truth is under attack. Like, what's happening? Democracy dies in the darkness. That's why, thank God for Joe Rogan. Like, he's having the tough arguments that nobody else is having. Like, what's happening here? How is this any different than any number of intellectual dark web cutouts that have come and gone?
Creating confusion for all of us.
Dude, they have human-animal hybrids. There's the freaking, I have been there when people that work for the Pentagon say that we go to the laboratory and we meet with the ambassador. We have to take higher and higher dosages to meet with them. They're giving.
You know what's funny about this? Johnny Harris also believes in the COVID lab leak. So maybe him and Alex, not that far removed, you know? Maybe you should reconsider your opinion on Alex Jones. COVID definitely leaked out of a lab, according to Johnny Harris, right? Isn't that what he said?
Giving us technology, and the technology worked.
I don't even think it's clear that carbon dioxide is actually a problem, but we can leave that aside.
They say that 80% of kids who experience any sort of gender dysphoria as children grow out of it.
This tension is not unique to Rogan. All media, all news outlets are subject to this seductive temptation to appeal to the worst parts of our nature. Rogan's version of it is unique because he and his show are unique. So for how much I disagree with some of his standards and fact-checking habits, I do take comfort in this guy's commitment to openness, to curiosity.
Dude, Joe Rogan, it's so laughable to say Joe Rogan in 2023 is committed to openness and curiosity. I'm going to fucking lose my mind. Dude, that is the exact opposite, brother. You have lost the plot. It is actually the exact opposite that is the problem. Joe Rogan has created an echo chamber around him of dick riders and sycophants, most of them right-wing, who are desperate to go on a show, so they rarely ever fucking disagree with him. Okay? That is not a commitment to openness. If he was committed to being open and hearing a diverse body of information, a diversity of opinion, he would have people that genuinely disagree with him. And then he would listen to them when they go on the show. Like, he wouldn't have, like, a doctor on who is his friend for a long-ass time, who is a doctor who believes in the efficacy of vaccines, okay? And then debate that doctor. He would listen to the doctor in the same way that he listens to every fucking kook with an HTML 1995 website selling colloidal silver. But he doesn't offer that dignity and respect to the doctors that he disagrees with. He doesn't even have them on usually. Okay? There's a reason why every single one of these fucking Joe Rogan clips that he used, with some exceptions, are from a different era. They are from the pre-Austin Joe Rogan era. They are mostly pre-COVID.